Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? We are going to do something a little bit different today. I am taking the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus out for what I'll call a photo day. I actually have an entire day planned out. I'm going to be not only here in Pasadena, I'm actually sitting right in front of Jones Coffee Roasters, but I'm also going to downtown Los Angeles to check out a museum and have a little bit of food. So you'll see some food photography in here as well. Now, one thing you should know before we get started, everything you're seeing in this video, from photos to videos, are going to be off of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, which means that you're actually not going to see the phone in here because I'm using it the entire time. So just know that you're not getting any B-roll of the device today, but hopefully this will give you a good idea of what the cameras are like. Alright, so here's the itinerary I got for today. I'm here at Jones Coffee Roasters. You might recognize it from Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. It's a great spot. A lot of great art here, and with the wide-angle lens of the S10 Plus, I'm able to get much more in the shots. Like, for example, this right here. I can actually fit the entire couch in the shot, and if I had it on the regular lens, you'd just be seeing like this right here. Alright, so I've already used this camera quite extensively while out in Barcelona. I was using it as my daily driver, and it's been doing a great job. As far as the cameras are concerned though, this camera has so much going for it. You have 3 lenses on the back, including a telephoto and a wide, which proves really useful, especially for vlogging. So, I don't know, this phone might be one of the ones to beat as far as content creation is concerned. I do wish there was a wide angle on the front, but I have a solution for that probably I'll talk about a little bit later. Fun fact, that one part at the end of The Dark Knight Rises where the truck goes underground and then Batman goes off with the bomb, that happened down here. I have been wanting to try this thing out for months, ever since CES, when Michael Fisher gave it an award. Can you believe it? Some food got an award at CES. This is the Impossible Burger. This is not necessarily a type 2 foodie material, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eat a few bites with the full setup, with the bread. That way I can get the full experience, and then I'll get some utensils and I'll eat the rest without the bread. Actually looks really good. It really does look like beef. Like, okay, let's get that first bite. You know what? I actually can't tell. The little bits and pieces that hold it all together, they come apart. You get this real chew to it. It has the texture of beef, of like grass-fed beef. I'm honestly really impressed. I took like 3 or 4 bites. Now the bread's coming off, and it's going to be all about that low-carb lifestyle. Seriously has the texture of beef. This is a meatless product, but it's all there. They've done a really good job of like emulating it. I looked it up yesterday. The nutritional facts do show that there are some carbs in here, maybe like 6 or 7 grams, because you need something to hold this all together. And the main ingredient in here is like soy protein concentrate, which I'm not the biggest fan of eating soy in general, but you know what, for this, if you're trying to go meatless and low carb at the same time, I can see why Mr. Mobile himself gave this an award back at CES. All right, now for our main event. I'm here in the Broad Museum where they have that infinity room that you might have seen a bunch of on Instagram. I'm in here, I'm going to take a bunch of pictures of art, not only with this phone but also with the Pixel 3 XL where I'm doing a kind of a comparison pretty soon for Pocket Now. Yeah, here we go. I was just told there are no sticks allowed in here, so I'm going to try to use that pop socket with this wide angle attachment. By the way, if you're wondering how I got that footage earlier, even though I was using the front facing camera, it's because of this. It's one of my favorite parts about this front-facing camera. It records in 4K, so I can use a wide-angle attachment like this and still keep all of the detail. Using the wide on the rear for now. Our museum is actually a perfect place to show off the wide-angle lens because a lot of these pieces of art are really big. So you're not really able to fit too much of it in the frame if you're just using a regular lens. So yeah, having all of that flexibility is really nice to have. Check out this green Hulk thing here. I kind of forgot how small the Broad is. It's basically this top floor and then there's some galleries on the first floor with, of course, the big thing being the infinity room, which is awesome, but there's a huge wait for it. So I'm kind of debating whether or not I want to stay here. And I think I have like 2 more hours or something until I'm even able to get in line to get into the infinity room. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to just like stick around here for that long. Alright, so there was actually a smaller version of the infinity room that I'm still kind of waiting for. It's this like stall looking thing where you could just sort of stick your head in. Well, you're not supposed to stick your head all the way in, but it gives the same general effect. The infinity room would be this kind of effect, but you're in it, like literally inside of an entire room that's made to just reflect light everywhere, and there are mirrors all over the place, so it seems like an infinity. Everything seems infinite, rather. It was kind of cool, and you know, if I don't end up going to the infinity room because I still have some time waiting for it, I'm pretty satisfied with that. It gives you a little bit of an example of how the wide angle and the zoom could be used in that situation. Alright, some final thoughts on the Galaxy S10 Plus after I used it for a photo day today. And also I'll give you some tips and tricks with this phone in case you are picking it up today, as it is becoming available starting today across a bunch of other places, so I wanted to be sure I had this video out for you. I had a fantastic time with this phone, not only as a general stills camera, but also as a vlogging machine. I do think this phone does a great job for vloggers, and partially the reason why is because the phone provides so many options. You get the wide and the telephoto on the rear, along with all of the different modes for video, including slow motion, but there are a couple of things here. I don't use telephoto a whole lot, so you didn't see a lot of zoom in this video, and as far as the slow motion is concerned, I wish that they stuck with 120 frames per second video, because the 240 they decided to stick with introduces flicker from incandescent lighting. Bringing up the telephoto again, you might want to know that the portrait mode, called live focus in the Samsung camera, does not use the telephoto lens to make a tighter frame when doing live focus shots. Instead, it finds sort of a middle ground, and I think the reason why is because even the S10e, which does have live focus, doesn't have a telephoto lens, so they had to use the regular lens for portraits. So if you were looking for a tighter frame for portraitures, well, that's something you'll get in other phones, and in this one you might need to use something like an attachment lens, maybe a moment lens, to get that extra length. The live focus mode does do a pretty good job of getting the cutout, and once you get that cutout, you can do a few fun things with it. You can change up the bokeh mode in the background, maybe give it a zoom, maybe give it some swirls, but my favorite thing to do is to do the color pop, which basically takes the cutout, leaves it in color, and then everything else is in black and white. This is something I feel like I would use quite often, actually, especially for social media. And then finally, some tips for actual vlogging or video work with this. One thing you need to know is that there's no pro mode or manual mode for video here, so you're going to use the auto mode, but it does a pretty good job of evening out not only the dynamic range, but also the colors. Samsung does oversaturate its photos and videos still in this phone, but it's not to the same degree as it was before. And that high dynamic range does lead to some pretty evened out photos, so if you do want to have some contrast in your footage or stills, you might want to just turn off the auto HDR in the settings. And then finally, one of the dead giveaways of smartphone videography is a jumping focus. The way that you lock the focus on this phone is to hit record and then tap your subject at some point during the video recording. It's at that point that the AFL or the autofocus lock will be in place. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'm actually pretty jazzed to do the vlogging with the smartphone segments once again, but since I'm incorporating stills in them as well, I just call them photo days. But yeah, if you liked this video, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you picked up a Galaxy S10 or S10 Plus or S10e today. Let me know what your experience is like, and I hope that I provided a little bit of insight into what the creative aspect of this phone can do for you. Oh, and I know this goodbye is getting pretty long, but if you are interested in the wide-angle attachment lens that you can use for the front-facing camera, obviously I'm not using it right now, you can find that in the description down below via some affiliate links, so if you do pick it up to try it for yourself, then you're helping the channel out as well. Oh, and I will do a video sometime in the future regarding lenses like these because I do truly believe that they add to the creative workflow. Okay, I am talking for too long. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm just continuing to show you what the S10 Plus can do. Thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, which will probably be my review of this phone, I'll just remind you to enjoy your tea, everybody. It's so hard not to look at the camera, or at the screen rather, when I'm trying to do shots like this.